All right, good morning. And this morning we're going to start on our zucchini quest. And the first thing we need to do is make sure we clean all this up. We're going to use a little paring knife, and any place there's any blemishes, like with this here, you're just going to take a paring knife and we're going to cut that right off. We don't need to peel the whole thing. That's not an issue. The skin on this is very thin and we're going to be shredding it anyhow. We also need to take off where the stem was at, and the little nub at the bottom, we need to take that off as well. Now with these smaller ones, we don't have to worry about the seeds. They're going to be small. But anything over this size, I'm going to double check. I'm going to cut this in half. And we're going to take a look at the seeds. But no, these are good. Let's check this one. These are fine as well. And these ones, I think I will scoop this part out. Let me see if I can just take a spoon. And there are some bigger seeds in there, so you want to make sure. We'll scrape those out just like that, and we're good to go with the rest of it. Just take your spoon, just like you would any type of squash. I let this one get a little bit too big, but it's perfect for this. Squash has a lot of liquid in it, so that's why it's important that we're going to go ahead and squeeze the liquid out. And two things. I don't want to have extra liquid in this recipe because everything is measured out, especially when it comes to baking. Now, when you're cooking, that's a different story. You can change things, but when you're baking, everything has a purpose for how much you're putting in. And when you deviate from that, if you don't know what you're doing or substituting, then it can change the recipe and it can come out bad. So with baking, I'm more strict on. With cooking, that is a lot more lenient. Now, I'm not going to need all of this for this recipe, so I'm just going to keep doing this, and then I'm going to show you how to freeze it. I did about half the zucchini, and the reason why I didn't do all of it is because I need to make sure that the towel can handle holding all of it. And then also, you got to be able to squeeze it out. And see this? Can you believe how much is coming out? And then you just turn it and keep squeezing. The other reason why you want to make sure and get as much liquid out as you can is because when you're freezing it, it's going to be a lot easier to freeze. And see, if I wasn't using a tea towel, it wouldn't come out necessarily as easy. And see the difference? I'm going to try it one more time just to make sure I get all the liquid out. The other thing you can use is a cheesecloth. You can get those at the grocery store. I'm not sure what aisle, I don't remember, but a lot of the grocery stores do carry that. Almost there. Okay, that is good. Now, in order to freeze this, I'll show you what we're going to do. Now, there's two ways that you can go ahead and freeze it. The first way is you can take it and put parchment paper down, and you can spread it out onto a tray and divvy it up so that you're going to put this right into the freezer. And then that way, it's easy to break apart when you need it for a recipe. The other way, and you don't want to have so much that it doesn't all freeze through, because what you're going to do is you're going to freeze it on the tray, just like this, and you're going to put this into the freezer, and then you'll have this, put it into a bag, and you can just keep adding it to the bag by doing it that way. The other way is, if you know how much you use for recipes, I have two recipes that I'm going to be doing. One is going to use, let me double check. All right, the cake one is going to use 3 cups. So, with this one, we can go ahead and put in here 3 cups. And then once we hit, and yes, I know, this is a liquid measuring cup, I get it. But for all purposes, right now, it's not making that big of a deal because we're just trying to get the right amount. Okay, so now this way, this is already measured. I don't have to pre-freeze this and put it into a bag. I can go ahead, and let me get this off my hands, it's so sticky. Let me grab a towel. This way, since it's pre-measured, we can put it right into the bag. Some stuck, so I'm just going to take a little extra and put it in here. Now, the way that I'm going to do this is I'm going to smash it down so it lays flat in the freezer. Put it over. Seal it good. Make sure the air is out so it lays flat. If you see that it's not, just open it up, press it, and then reseal it. So now we have this. And on here, I'm going to put squash, and I'm going to put 3 cups. Oh, and I was going to put today's date. I believe it's August 1st. And I'll put the year on there. And now, that way, it's all set, and I know there's 3 cups in here, and when I want to do a recipe, I can just pull it out, thaw it, and then I'm ready to go. All right, before we get started on the cake, I just wanted to show you how when you freeze this, see how it just kind of falls apart, and it makes it easy to put into a bag. We need two separate things. We need our dry, and then we need our wet. So our dry is including flour, sugar, baking soda, baking powder, salt, cinnamon, nutmeg, raisins, and walnuts. Then we need a 9x13 pan. We're going to grease and flour it so it doesn't stick. Then we need our wet ingredients. We need oil, molasses, vanilla. We're going to need some sour cream, eggs. We need some melted butter, which I had that on the stove. And we're going to need our shredded squash. Now, for this recipe, you can use zucchini. You can use the yellow squash. Either one, it'll work exactly the same. Now, for those who've never seen me do this before, I'm going to do it again so that you can get an idea of how you do your pans. You can easily use a spray if that's what you want, but I really like to use natural products as much as I can. I'm not saying that I don't do some, but I try to stay with the basics and what I was taught as a kid. And my mom always used butter on her pans. And then once she did this, then she would take flour and she would sprinkle some flour in the pan as well. And then if you put this down, it'll save you the headache of if you get any on the countertop. Now you're just going to get it on here. And now the rest of this, we'll just go ahead and put on that, and then we can fold it up and discard it, because it would have had the butter in it. Now we're ready to put this thick batter, which you can see how thick it is from all the yummies in it. oven is at 350 degrees. It's nice and hot. We're going to go ahead and get this in the oven. And we're going to check it after a half hour. Now I checked this at a half hour and it wasn't quite done yet, so I gave it another 10 minutes and that was perfect. But in your oven, I would still go ahead and check it at a half hour just to make sure that it is done, or if it isn't done, you can add a few more minutes. But if you overbake it, there's not a whole lot you can do about it. So what we're going to do is make this nice and simple. I am just going to sprinkle powdered sugar over the top, and that's going to be my only topping. And another thing that is really, really good with this is some ice cream, vanilla ice cream. We're going to go ahead and cut it. And once again, I'm going to sample it warm because it's just about time for me to head off to the garden center for work. Let me grab a plate. And you see with pre-treating that, how easy that comes out. And look at that. Is that not delicious? Now let's give it a taste. And the texture is so nice. It's still light and fluffy, but it has a heavier consistency. Guys, this is one of the best way to use zucchini. And if your kids aren't one to eat vegetables, I'm telling you, this one is going to be a winner. This can definitely be my breakfast. I'm not kidding. You got to try this recipe.